Hey, welcome back to the Nets. Unbiased views. We're fast, we're furious. The topics to be covered today: the first T20, Australia versus India, South Africa versus England, and the first ODI that got postponed, and last but not the least, Kane Williamson and his brilliance. Before we go anywhere, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That will help me a lot. So let's just begin with India versus Australia. First T20, India won it in the end, but I think it will be remembered more for the controversy that it was left with Ravindra Jadeja and the concussion protocol that did happen. So let's begin from the very get go where team selection. It was an interesting combination. We knew that Bumrah and Shami will be the load for them will be balanced. So today it was Bumrah's turn to be rested, and Shami got the nod ahead of him. We also saw that there was Manish Pandey got his first game. Chakravarti we knew was injured and Natarajan had taken his place. And Mayank Agarwal was rested, which was strange considering Mayank Agarwal has had a brilliant partnership with Rahul for Kings 11 Punjab in recent past. But Finch won the toss, requested India. He put India in to bat, and it was a pretty decent decision, I would say. The pitch in Canberra offers a little bit of extra bounce to a wrist spinner. The ball tends to just do a little bit more. Australia had the same intention. They had brought in Swepson, who has come in with a brilliant domestic season, and they had also got Darcy Short, who is an amazing talent to watch out for in the shortest format. He loves going over the top. Big Bash is we have seen him enough in Big Bash now. But nonetheless, put into bat, Rahul had a decent opening run, but he was, I think, running out of partners. And this is what we have seen with Rahul. He manages to get there for 40, 45 odd balls, and then all of a sudden he just throws his wickets when it's time for him to accelerate. And he might have to work on that considering the next World Cup is coming in, and considering Kohli loves having him keep wickets. It might be something that we may need to put some, um, you know, make sure Rahul is aware that he may have to either bat through, and if he's batting through, he's playing at least 50 to 60 balls, which means he has to either get somewhere around 90s or bat with a strike rate of over 140. That's the general tendency of a top order batsman. But that being said, we also had Sanju Samson, who looked confident, and that is with what is with Sanju Samson. He always looks confident for the little stint that he plays in, and then all of a sudden you just see him play an absolutely rash shot, and everything just goes haywire for him. But nonetheless, it was again a rescue act by Sir Ravindra Jadeja. He pulled his hamstring and then uh, took India. He was the one who added that extra force in the end. And at one stage where it seemed that we could barely touch 130, all of a sudden Jadeja shows up with an amazing knock in the end, and we managed to cross 160. Now 160 puts that little bit of added pressure considering now you're talking about a run rate of 8 from the get-go. Again, not a big daunting score to begin with, but the only way you can keep somebody in check is by getting wickets. But that's when the controversy happened. Jadeja had to be substituted, a concussion substitute, as the protocol says, and Jadeja had to be subbed, and we'll talk in detail about it after we are done with this first half. But we didn't really get wickets as we would have hoped, and there was a decent start by Darcy and Finch. Finch, who is batting like probably the best batsman there may be around right now, but they had a brilliant start, and then the concussion substitute comes in and runs through the side. Yuzvendra Chahal, who has had a pretty poor tournament so far, suddenly shows up, puts his hands up, flights the balls, and we see him do what he had been doing in the IPL, and suddenly Australians are not able to keep up with him. So I Australia were pretty much bamboozled, and they were at one stage. It seemed like they would run away with the game at the halfway mark, but then that is what wickets do. Natarajan again had a brilliant game, and I would personally not be too worried about Natarajan in the shortest format because that has been his strength. If he had succeeded in the ODI, and I would say succeeded because he did go for 70 odd runs, but he managed to get two key wickets. So it was a decent ODI debut for him in the limited overs edition for both the shortest format and the 50 over format. Shami was expensive, but in the end, we won by 11 odd runs. And here's the difference: in the Indian inning, there were 42 dot balls. In the Australian innings, there were 44 dot balls. So that just tells me that both teams are banking heavily. Either they are banking heavily on scoring boundaries, or it takes a little while for both the teams to actually get acquainted to the to the spinners or pacers. But nonetheless, 42, that was a difference. The fielding has been pretty bad from both ends, but dropped catches and too many dot balls, and in the end, those two dot balls were the difference maker, which brings us to concussion. So Ravindra Jadeja gets hit on the ball on the left hand side. The ball ricochets off his bat, hits him on the head on the left hand side. He manages to stay there for another three balls, four balls, and then he gets substituted. Uh, which the Aussies do have a right to come in and object, saying that okay, it wasn't a like for like substitute, but the rule says that it has to be from the pool of players that were in sitting on the bench that the team had declared in the first time the sheets were out presented to the match referee. So in the sheet on the list that of the players that were registered to sit on the bench today were Bumrah, Shreyas Iyer, Mayank Agarwal, and Chahal. So the only thing now that probably makes a difference is a wrist spinner versus a finger spinner. And I think that considering this, I am pretty sure if given a choice between Bumrah and Chahal, Australians would have preferred Chahal any day. And it is what it is. So sometimes these super subs or substitutes come off, sometimes they don't. Today in India's case, they did, and I think it might be controversial. But then, hey, again, the match referee was David Boone. It was approved uh, by Justin Langer. Finch was aware of it, and the rules weren't made by BCCI. It's a rule done by ICC. So you know what? It's time to just move on. It happened. It happened. And the other funny thing about concussion is, and we had seen this in the World Cup final that Germany played as well, but I won't make any football references here. The player was able to stand there for another 12 minutes before he fell down and asked the referee. He didn't know where he was and he was subbed. So it is quite possible, and I know that from personal experience as well, that with concussion, it doesn't have to happen right there and then. It can so happen that the impact is felt a little bit later. And Jadeja was inspected by the doctor, the physio, and he was asked to rest. And now the news from the Indian dugout is Jadeja will be missing out on the next two games as well. So I hope he recovers pretty fast, and I really would not want to see Jadeja miss out on the test game, on the test matches. He's one of the vital cogs. Talking about the next one, South Africa versus England. The first ODI was suspended. It's postponed till Sunday. England and the England dressing room were having some complaints about South Africa's biosecure bubble not being good enough for the British players, English players, and that stirred some kind of controversy. And then ICC just decided to postpone this game till the end of this week. So I hope that the game does happen. It's always nice to see two big names clashing, and I hope everybody is safe. Uh, South Africa's physios and South Africa's medical staff has said that biosecure bubbles are 99% secure. So I hope that is true. And then last but not the least, let's talk about Kane Williamson and what an amazing batsman he is. So here we have Kane Williamson, who has played T20 cricket for I think the past 2 months. He walks in, takes some time off, walks into the first test, and suddenly switches his test mode on. And that just tells you that, once you have the technical ability to play test cricket, you can play any format. and you can be successful at the end of it. I really feel that Kane Williamson is a little bit on a different level than all the other batsmen. We talk about Fab 4, but I really feel that there is that Fab 1 at this point of time, and then there are just a little bit below, there are the others, Fab 3. But, and I wouldn't be, I mean, being impartial, I would say that Babar Azam does, with his current form, does deserve to be a part of that platform as well. But that's all, I guess that's all that I have for today. I will come back and see you guys soon. But before I go, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That will help me a lot. Give me a shout out if you can. That would be even more appreciated. If you don't like the channel, please do leave comments. I will be more than glad to respond back to them. And wherever you guys are, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.